Yeah, that's a question that's been asked regularly, and I come from the industry. I have always been involved in design and renovation work, but when I was wanting to start my own business, I started looking around at the competition, and that was how I came across Refresh. It was well marketed, good product, the website was great, the information was good, and I actually sat back and thought, how am I going to start a business with all of this information and build this information and still get the sales and generate an income? So that's why I came to Refresh, because I really basically thought the brand's there, the network's there, everything I need is really set up. So all I needed to do was concentrate on selling. And to be honest, that's all I did. And my first year was brilliant. It was hard work. It was lots of learnings being a business owner, not having ever owned a business before. But I couldn't compete with that, and I couldn't sustain that level of quality information, a website, a brand, the print marketing, everything that goes with it, that a big corporate company would have as a one-man person. So that's why I joined Refresh, basically. I just really wanted to be part of that. So I have a degree in interior architecture. I've always been involved in the commercial building trade and the industry, and it was really just the next progression for me. I've always been in the specification market and the project management side, and I've done a little bit on QSing, so it sort of brought all of those skills that I had to the party. I don't think it's necessary because you have a lot of support in the group. But it just actually gave me that little advantage, I suppose. But I love design, and really being involved in the projects from beginning to end now has been great, not just being a part of a life cycle of a project. So I'm really loving that. So the local marketing is really important. We've done a lot of studies and stats in our business to see where our leads are coming from and which ones actually convert easier or more successfully. And definitely the local marketing clients are far better for us and far better for our business. And we do lots of initiatives. So we have a number of seminars throughout the year. We pre-plan that so that we know well in advance that we're going to be doing that. We try and to look at about 4 or 5 per area, per franchise, because I have the 2 franchises. We also participate in home shows, and the thing to remember with home shows, you only need 1 lead out of that home show to make it worthwhile. It's a great branding reference, and we do a lot of home shows. In our one franchise, we do 3 home shows a year. Highly recommend it, not only to find clients, but also to network with other trades and other people also displaying. So very important to be in that space. We also do a number of magazine articles. So I've spoken to a few different magazines in my time, but we do articles bi-monthly, and they're really information articles. So we're trying to position ourselves as the specialist in the field. And in fact, the one magazine, they actually call us the design specialist, which has been really, really useful and handy. I'll go into homes and I see that magazine on tabletops, and clients refer to that article that we wrote back in whatever about the kitchen or the bathroom renovation. It's not specific to us. It's not specific to the Refresh process. We're trying to be seen as the people in the space. So it's more of a design-based article. We participate in a lot of school auctions, and last year we did a hospice auction where we actually donated a free consult and a free bathroom design. So we really try and become part of the community, really important. Lots of different opportunities. You just need to think outside the square and think of different avenues, really. Yes, so as our business has matured, we get those leads and those referrals, and they are the best leads because they already know who you are. That qualification process for them has already been done. It's already happened. But your business does need to be a bit more mature to start getting those referrals. We do go back on our leads from a year back. So if a lead hasn't converted, we do touch base with them. We have someone in our office that does that. So for instance, if it was January this month, we will go back to January last year and we'll make contact with everybody that was in our business or made contact with our business then. And we always ask the question, if they aren't renovating, have they got a referral or do they know of someone? Because we've already been in their house. We've probably had a cup of tea around their dining room table. So that is already there, and it just becomes more personable. We've got clients that have come back for 5, 6, 7 projects. You know, we've even done, and I know Zones might not like this, but we've even done the whole of the interior, and then they've asked us to do a deck out by the pool. But they're our client. We've built this relationship. We've got clients that go on holiday and they leave us the key and lockbox that we've left there for 5 years. Really, really good clients. So look after those clients, and you know, the hard work's done. They know how you work. They know your staff. You know when the dog needs to be fed, if you're looking after the dog for them or whatever the case might be. So look after those repeat customers, those referral customers. They're really important. So that's a real interesting question. How do customers respond? What we generally do is walk into their home, have a look around, ask them what they're wanting us to achieve with this project, and then we sit down and we go through the 5-step process. Being a more mature franchise, we've got a lot of projects that we can actually refer to, but once we know what they're wanting in their home, we often refer to, oh yeah, we did a project where this happened and this was the outcome, or whatever the case might be, and we walk through that 5-step process. But being able to refer back to projects that we've done along that 5-step process, they actually see the value because they're looking at it from almost the end goal, if that's right, if I can say it that way, and it really does put everything into perspective. The 5-step process is a necessity, and if I can give any franchise advice, is understand how that 5-step process can make your process a better sales line, because at the end of the day, the process, that 5-step process, is there to achieve a common goal, a common understanding, so that everybody involved in that project understands what the deliverables are. It's imperative. Otherwise, you're going to be running around, pulled back into the project at every stage when you need to be looking at the next project in your pipeline. So find a way, speak to other franchises about how they sell that process, because if you have a client that understands the value of the 5-step process, your whole sale will be signed, and before you know it, it really does make things a lot easier. Take some stories to the table. Let the clients understand why that process is there. It's a great process, and I would not recommend doing a construction renovation without going through that process. I don't actually in my business have a lot to deal with that. I have staff that deal with the control because it's not my personality. I'm all over the shop. I'm sort of an ad hoc moving kind of person, where that is a very structured element, and you need someone that is very diligent to deal with that. So when I looked at my business, I realized that it would just frustrate me, so I removed myself from it, but I have people that deal with it. It's important. Every business needs to deal with it. We need to know what's in the pipeline, who's been dealing with what, and I call it bus syndrome. Every business has to be worried about bus syndrome. What happens if your sales consultant is sick and the client phones? The information needs to be there somewhere. Okay, so just to clarify, bus syndrome is what happens if someone gets hit by a bus. Who's going to pick up the information? All right. It is important that that is all in one space, one place. That if you've got dealing with 2 clients, both of them are on that control email address so that you're communicating with everybody. Very important. Also, to see where your pipeline is, see where your dollars are, see how much you've got coming down the chain, in the next process, because you need to make sure you're looking 6 months ahead. Where is that? Are those projects that are in CNF going to be coming through to build in 6 months? So the detail and control needs to be correct. Otherwise it's pointless. And that's why I got someone else to run it, because I was no good at putting that detail in. So my recommendation is keep it up to date. Don't let it go red. One, it frustrates you when you look at it and everything's red. It's just, it will get under your skin. And two, it's a good way just to make sure you're touching base with all of those clients as they move through. I believe with Control 2, there's lots of exciting assets coming. So get used to it and enjoy it, and just make it part of your daily routine. They are everything. Your trades are your business. Reliable, well presented, organized, really important. Once your trades realize that you're taking a lot of pressure off them, all they need to do is read the schedule, read the scope, arrive at the job, do the job, make sure the site's clean and tidy, and leave. Once they realize that you're doing all the other stuff for them, you will retain that tradie. They get to know your staff as you have bigger teams. I've got a big team. As you build your teams and you get more and more people on board, your trades will learn to rely on them and learn to realize that that information is true, correct and real, and that they know that they've got to be on site on Wednesday at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whatever the case might be. Good trades are everything. One thing I can recommend is making sure your trades will come back and deal with any errors and any problems, okay? And that only becomes reliable when they know that they're getting more work from you, okay? They're not going to come back and deal with any issues if they don't understand that there's a pipeline coming down, to them, and work is being fed to them. So make sure they're aware of the projects that are coming down the pipeline towards them. Make sure they realize how much marketing you're doing. Make sure they realize that they're actually part of your team. We give all of our tradies shirts, vests and peaks, hats. Some of them like the bucket hats, but we do that on a regular basis. We actually have them all together at a Christmas barbecue and we give them all shirts and hats then. They are part of our team and they need to be celebrated as part of our team. So look after those trades, but don't go for the cheap and nasty guys. In fact, I don't even question my trades rates, because I know that they're going to be on site, their insurance is up to date, their machinery and their tools are top notch. I don't question it. For me, it's all about the delivery and not having to be pulled into that project to deal with problems, taking my concentration away from my pipeline. So look after your trades, but good trades are everything. It's a great business to be in. It does take a lot of tenacity, and there is quite a bit of work, especially in the beginning when you're building your teams, you're building your systems. But it is a fantastic industry where you're always learning and you're always meeting new people. And at the end of the day, you can step back and look at what you've developed and what you've built and what you've achieved in terms of that client's home and how you've improved their life in that house. It's brilliant. And but please, when you come into the business, just be mindful that there is some hard work and there is some soul-searching moments where you think, oh my gosh, have I got into the right business? Have I done the right thing? But when you walk away from those projects and the clients are so happy with it, it is a fantastic feeling. And the systems are here, the support is here. You just need to work through it and get to the end of it and enjoy the process. But having a brand behind you, having that marketing, having the systems, having the contacts, it does make being a business owner a lot more simple than starting from the ground up and not having any of those contacts.